title race, bringing it back to the damage, Stuart Pearce, from a Manchester City point of view, how flat will that dressing room be? What does Pep Guardiola say to those players on the way home to Manchester?
I'm seeing a lot of frustration, not just after the games panned out as a 1-1. I'm seeing a lot of frustration with the Manchester City players, with Haaland, with the way they're playing. You know, they've dropped too many points. They've not been playing consistently. Pressure on Arsenal for me, and to be honest with you, I've been looking at it for a couple of months and think Arsenal have done very, very little. Looked at.
Not going to the final day. You like the sound of that, don't you, Martin?
Well, look, the thing is, you don't want to get carried away because there's a lot of other football that could influence. You know, they've got Champions League games coming up, both teams. They've got a major final against one another. You know, I was at the end of a '99 Arsenal team that went out of the FA Cup, and it seemed to impact Manchester United to go on and do very well. So maybe the League Cup is a deciding factor. Maybe if Arsenal can win that, then, you know, maybe it's a double blow for Man City to come back from. But with Pep's pedigree, having won 18 trophies, you never discount him and what he's capable of. But today, they'd be really disappointed with that performance. Just weren't creating enough in front of goal. It's not cutting-edge football that we grew so used to watching from Man City. He did tell us before the game, Pep, that it's a must-win game, and they didn't win it. Arsenal, it was difficult for them as well, and there's lots of fixtures to come. They can close that gap. They can beat Arsenal at home on their own territory. They can win their game in hand, but, you know, still Arsenal will have a cushion. So, plenty of football left.
This is Martin Keown happy, by the way.
I know.
Okay. You know, he's holding it in here.
We were hoping his face there. We were hoping he was just going to open up and say, you know, we've got one hand on the trophy. It's a wrap. You know, because it feels that way actually from an ex-Manchester City point of view. It feels like this is not the Manchester City of old. This is not the team that can go on a whatever.
Why is that, Shea? When you try, and I know it's difficult after watching that 90 minutes, but what is not in the ingredients in this recipe that has been there so often under Pep?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a bit of a spark. Even midweek in the Champions League, Real Madrid, they got, you know, beat up out in Madrid. Tough game to come back from, but I don't know, the subs, I think Cherky come on, look better. Marmoush was a bit off. Foden's not been the same this season. There's so many different things that haven't really seemed to click. And again, it's not the City of old. I'm not sure if Pep's going to be there next season. There's lots of things that's going to happen, I think, in this summer.
There are 6 or 7 players here, though, that you look and you think the backbone of the club is gone, isn't it? So when Gundogan goes, De Bruyne goes, the goalkeeper goes, Walker goes, there's a turnaround. So we shouldn't really be surprised. You know, okay, Haaland's in there, not using Foden very much. And you look at it, you think, well, have this group, they've really got the experience to get through these difficult periods, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be there.
I also think as well, when you look at City and go back to the time that they won the Champions League a few years ago, what were they good at? They could play through the thirds, they could get turned, they could get to the byline, pull the ball back and hurt you in that respect. And defensively, they got it right. You know, Walker was dealing with any threats in Europe, that type of thing. They look as though they can concede goals, I think, this season. They look flimsy in that respect. And also, as well, they've not got the cutting edge that we've been used to over time with City, and I think that will cost them eventually.
Yeah, there were a hatful of chances, Shea, in the second half from a Manchester City point of view. I mean, we'll see the one at the very end from Mark Gay, but talk us through some of these that you normally see them be buried.
Again to West Ham, we talk about the shape, the team shape, but they did get in an odd occasion. I'd say Cherky off the bench is a brilliant one-touch around the corner. Hermansen, of course, had a really strong game in the goalkeeper for West Ham, but they're not sitters, they're not clear-cut chances. You know, brilliant defending there from Mavropanos again. You know, talk about an ex-Arsenal player scored at the other end, brilliant blocks, and things just didn't drop for City. How many times have you seen this late goals from City? You know, things dropping in the right position. This thing, Reinders off the crossbar. I think Hermansen got a touch onto the crossbar as well. But just all these chances that it never really felt that they were hanging on like they're going to score. It's only a matter of time before they did score.
Like this one.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest chance. He's just leaning back. We've seen it at Popsky Gay here. Just leaning back when it comes to him. Well, he's got to get his leg over. Anything on target, you think it's a goal there. Big chance.
Yeah, Mark Gay, of course, arrived at Manchester City in the January transfer window thinking that he might be lifting that Premier League trophy. We can hear from the City centre-back now.
Well, Mark, how much of a sucker punch does that draw feel like? I mean, it is a draw, but given that Arsenal won today, what's the mood like in the dressing room?
Yeah, it's tough. I think on the whole, we thought we deserved to win the game, but life doesn't always turn out the way you want to. So it's important that we just get ourselves together and go again.
In terms of the performance in the first half, it felt like a bit of a subdued performance by City. I mean, obviously you were dominating the ball. Was there a hangover from the way that you'd lost in midweek in the Champions League, and maybe even seeing Arsenal win just a couple of hours before you?
I don't think so. I think we need to just be critical ourselves in certain areas of the pitch.
No idea. It's just last 16, no idea. I don't know. It's a football game. Many things can happen. And you have to focus and try to first win the game, and after we see what happens during the game. So I don't have a specific plan, a part of the just try it.
Do you have to transmit your belief that the team can turn it round? Because it's a big ask.
Well, after 10 years, you have to convince my players about the beliefs. We are in problem. They know me quite well, that every single game we try, there will be no exception. They have to. So they are the guys who play, and I'm pretty sure they will try it. And I know most of them. Of course, most of them, they are news, they've experienced in that situations. And we are not the same group that many years, but at the same time, it's an incredible experience and an incredible opportunity to try it.